Hello everyone. With me just making the NBA video a few days ago, the NHL concludes its season around the same time. The whole playoffs were already set before the last day of games. I still wanted to wait until the last day. But the MLB, it has this super fast turnaround. What do you mean they're already playing playoff games tomorrow? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, we're here. We are doing NHL playoffs again. For some reason last year when I dropped this, it became my most popular video of all time. And I have no clue why, considering it's the NHL. I wouldn't think it would be as popular as hockey or football. But ball up top, I guess. But we're back here again. I don't expect to get as many views as I did last year. I think that one was just an outlier. But I'm still here to do it. And we've got good news. The Blues have made the playoffs. Of course, I was from St. Louis, so I am a Blues fan. Will they win the cup? Maybe. I'm just saying it looks very familiar to how 2019 went. When the Blues won their first cup. We went on an 11-game win streak, played the Jets in the first round, and won the whole thing. And this year, we went on a 12-game win streak, which was the best win streak in the history of our club. I don't know why I said club. They even call it, just say team. Just say team. It was the best, winning streak ever for our team. Of course, we almost choked it away to the Flames. However, we still made the playoffs at the end of the day, so I'm happy. And we played the Jets. So, we're just going to have to see what happens. Other than that, we got 8 matchups, just like the NBA. And I'm here to show you everything that will happen in these games. Just make your choice now. Of all these teams, which one do you think will win? And why is it the Blue? No, I'm joking. But let's get started. Of course, we have to start with my team. We've got the St. Louis Blues, and we got the Jets. Now, don't beg me to remember any NHL players, because I really don't. Except the big name ones. And the Blues players. I can name some Blues players. We got Buchnevich. We've got Binnington. We've got Cairo. We've got Robert Thomas. We got Peryanko. We got the Oiler guy, not Broberg. The other Oiler guy that got Holloway. We got Holloway. We got Snuggard. He's a rookie. Other than that, I know. I basically only know the Blues players. So don't beg me to know any of these NHL players, because I don't. I'm just gonna have to admit that here. I don't. I mean, I've seen them. It's just I haven't paid attention to the names. I couldn't remember. From the Kings, I couldn't name one Kings. But let's get on to it. So we got the Jets versus the Blues. Now, ironically, the Jets, one player I do know, they have Connor Hellebuyck, the best goalie in the NHL. However, Hellebuyck was the goalie for Team USA, who lost to Team Canada. And guess what goalie Team Canada had? Jordan Binnington. Guess whose team is Jordan Binnington on? The Blues. Also, along with that, the Jets have claimed the President's Trophy. What does that mean? That means they're cursed. There's been a curse about the President's Trophy for a long time now. And, just saying, could that translate here? So, we got the Blues, who beat the Jets back in 2019. We got the Jets, who seem like the best team in the league. I think this goes 7. And call me biased all you want, but give me the Blues to move on to round 2. Does this mean they will win the whole thing? Maybe. We're just going to have to see. Next, we got the Stars, and we got the Avalanche. Now, the Avalanche traded Rantanen to the Canes, who then turned that around and traded them to the Stars. So the Stars now have the opportunity to get revenge for Rantanen. Avalanche, obviously, they have McKinnon. He's a great player. And the Stars, this guy on there I really like, Wyatt Johnson. He seems like a pretty good player. So this is a pretty good matchup. Overall, with the revenge factor factored in, I think Rantanen gets his revenge on the Avalanche to trading him to the Canes, who also dropped him for the Stars. And the Stars move on to the second round to face the Blues. Next, we've got the Golden Knights and we got the Wild. Obviously, the Golden Knights, not many people like them, considering for the past few years they've cheated the system by acting like one of their players was injured. Is Mark Stone. He acted like one of their players was injured just to get more players. And they didn't do it this year, so congrats. They didn't basically cheat this year, but we're just not going to talk about that. Obviously, they won the Cup a couple years ago, but last year, obviously, it did not go too well for them. But they are back in the Pacific in the first seed, but I also don't necessarily really trust them too much. Of course, we got the Wild here. Honestly, the picks keep going away because I to be fair, I'm just going to admit this now. I keep leaving the app just to check the players. So, yeah. But let's be honest. The Wild, they don't really have many. They have Gustafsson at goal. I mean, honest, I just went to them, and I forgot all their players because they're a bunch of bums. Harrison Ek, give me the Knights in 5. Let's be honest, the Wild aren't that good. I don't have any hopes for the Wild. The Blues should be the ones playing the Golden Knights right now, but we're not going to talk about that either. Anyway, we're just going to move on. The Wild suck. If they win, please don't at me. Now we have the Kings and we have the Oilers. The Oilers, obviously, coming off of a 3-0 comeback just to lose in Game 7 against the Panthers. They have 2 of the best players in the league, Connor McDavid and... Shoot, his name blanked out of my head. Now I look like I'm stupid. Field trip. Let's see. Oh, wait, he's been out for a while. Yeah, Draisaitl. He's been out for some reason. It's undisclosed. I don't really... No one really knows why. But Draisaitl, he's been out for a while, so we'll see if he even plays in the first round of the playoffs. You also have Bouchard, Nugent-Hopkins, and Nurse, along with Hyman. I'm just going to stay here for all the players, I guess. May as well go through the Wild now that we're here. Matt Bodie, Rossi, Frederick, Kaprizov. Yeah, this team sucks, let's be honest. But over to the Kings, obviously. Unironically, this is one of the most boring matchups because the Kings and the Oilers face off every single year. I may as well just show you here now. Last year, Oilers won 4-1. Year before that, Oilers won 4-2. Year before that, Oilers won 4-3. What is it going to be, a sweep this year? But I feel like it doesn't even matter how good the Kings are. They're just going to get beat again. And okay, these are guys. All these guys are getting rest. They have Kopitar, Kempe, Moore, Denault. Let's see. Oh, wait, no, that's the 21-22 team. My bad. They have Kopitar, they have Kempe still. They have Byfield, Fiala, and they still have Denault with Fuego. Who's their goalie? Gotta check that, too. Riddich. He doesn't look that good, though. But back to the series. It just seems like these guys play every single dang year. So it's kind of boring. Honestly, just for the memes, give me Oilers in 4. Now, I had the Oilers anyways, but I didn't realize that it was that bad. Because it's like a streak. 4-3, 4-2, 4-1, give me 4-0. And then maybe the Kings can finally win a series. But I have no trust in the Kings. The Oilers own them. It's like the Nuggets and the Lakers, let's be honest. So I'm taking the Oilers to move on in 4. Probably not actually 4, but still, give me them in 4. Now we got the Maple Leafs, and we've got the Sens. Obviously, Ottawa. Kind of surprising that they're here. They're not usually good in recent years. And of course, the Maple Leafs, they're the Maple Leafs. They have Austin Matthews, players like that. They're always really good. However, they're not. Austin Matthews, Tavares, Marner, William Nylander, I like him. He's pretty good. Guys see who their goalie is, too. Well, I don't think Wool's the starter. Wool, Luke Holken. I don't know who's the starter, but obviously, the Maple Leafs are good every year. But then they bottle it in the playoffs. Will that happen again? We'll see. Of course, we got the Sens team, too. You know, they haven't been good in pretty recent years. 37-41 last year. 39-35, but they did not make the playoffs last year. It's the year before that. And then they went 33-42. So it's good to see them back in the playoffs. They've been pretty good this season. They got players like... They've got a Tkachuk brother, obviously. Tkachuk. He's also questionable for undisclosed reasons, so that's concerning. They got Stutzel. Cousins, did not have to say it like that. Batherson, Sanderson, Gyro. You got players like that. Goalie, Linus Ullmark. He was a Bruin last year, I believe. Yeah, he was a Bruin. He didn't do good in the playoffs, apparently. Swayman's their starter anyway, so that doesn't matter. Anyway, let's just be happy the Bruins didn't make the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. But the Sens, if the Senators and the Wild win off in the playoff series, I think the Sens did. I think the Sens are the better team. However, it's obvious the Maple Leafs are the way better team. However, they're the Maple Leafs. However, they're not playing the Bruins. So I think the Maple Leafs will scare their fans a little bit. I think it'll go to 7, but I think the Leafs take it. Next, we've got the Battle of Florida. We've got the Lightning, and we've got the reigning champions, the Florida Panthers. Now, the Panthers, obviously, still a really good team. They got a lot of good players. The Lightning are solid, too. Obviously, let's be honest, though. The Lightning, their players are very old. Nikita Khrushchev, he's old, I believe. Does it say their age? Unfortunately, it does not say their age. But he's old. But he's good. He's old. They got Braden Point. Wait. Yeah. They got Hagel, Guentzel, Cirelli, Hedman, Paul, players like that. Their goalie, Johansson. Really? Is that really the goalie? Jeez, Rangers. I guess it is. But Lightning, they're obviously a really good team. Conveniently, they just played on April 15th, and the Lightning whooped them. So, not a good look for the Panthers. However, there are a lot of people that have been out recently. Obviously, Reinhardt, Barkov, Lundell, they've all been rest, but they're all really good players. Sasha, their captain, of course. Sam Bennett. My GOAT, Carter Verhaeghe. Yeah, that's my man right there. When I like first started to care about hockey back in the 22 season, I don't know why, I just really like how Verhaeghe's name was said. So Verhaeghe's cool. They also got Marchand from the Bruins. Yeah, but to Chuck, he's been out since the All-Star break. My goodness. I don't know when and if he's ever coming back. Oh, they do have. Well, back to light. I don't know when he's coming back, but he's one of their best players. So it's a little concerning. Yeah, he's 31. He's old. It's a little concerning on how they don't have one of their best players. However, the Panthers are still a really good squad, and they just won the Cup last year. They're still riding some momentum from that, at least. So, I also think this one goes to 7 games. This is probably going to be one of the most interesting matchups in this playoff series. And I'm taking the Panthers to move on, even with the injury. Because they've lost him for a while, and they've still been pretty good. So, I think they'll be fine. Now, we're out to the Caps and the Canadiens. And obviously, we all know at least one player on the Caps. His name is Alexander Ovechkin. What did he do? No, nothing. He just scored the 895th goal this season, the most goals ever scored by a man in NHL in history. We all know him. Obviously, the Caps, they were in President's Cup contention. Now, they didn't win it, obviously, because Jets did. But the Caps have been a really good team this whole season. You know, of course, Strome, Wilson, and then my boy Ovechkin. May as well just go back to that now. Where is that? Yep, the Islanders game. It's got 11.1K comments. Should I turn it on? You can see this guest. But obviously, Ovechkin, one of the best hockey players of all time. Pierre-Luc Dubois, protests is out for a foot injury. I don't know how long he's been out. Not recent. Churchin, Dowd, McMichael. But the Caps, they're a really good team. The Canadiens just barely snuck into the playoffs with players like Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Evans, Hudson, Dvorak. They've also got Laine. I like Laine. He seems pretty cool. But the Canadiens, they barely snuck in. They almost... The Blue Jackets, they were 2 points out. If the Canadiens didn't win their last game against, ironically, the Canes, well, they would probably be in Cancun right now. So, I don't have much hope in the Canadiens team. They're a very young team. And the Capitals are not as young. And they have experience. They've won a cup semi-recently. I believe back in... It was like the first or the second year the Golden Knights were in this... like in the league, because they had made the finals and they lost to the Caps. So they've won it semi-recently. Not recently. Like, over 5 years ago. So not recent, but semi-recent. Like, they didn't win it back in, like, 2001 or something. But I don't have much hope. Give me the Caps in 5. And final. For our final series, we got the Hurricanes and we got the Devils. There they are. Yeah. Obviously, the Hurricanes are a really good team. They've been a really good team. However, They just can't seem to get it over the hump. They've been a really good team for a bit now, and they have not won basically anything to show for it. Of course, the Canes, they've got Aho, they've got Jarvis, they've got Stahl, Sevechnov, Snerkovin, Hall, Rosolik. They've got Anderson at goal. And Kochetkov. I got those two out. Well, was that Canadian? No. And by the way, because I didn't mention it, Montembeault is the Canadians' goalie, and the Caps goalie is Lindgren. But back to the Canes and the Devils. The Hurricanes, they've been a pretty good team for a while, but they haven't had anything to show for it. Back when they were second, the Panthers won the President's Cup that year. Back when they were this really good, they got beat by the Rangers, and I assume the semis, because the Rangers had not made the finals in a while. Back in 22, basically the same record, and they got swept by the Panthers, which is very embarrassing at that time, considering the Panthers were kind of the worst team in the playoffs, let's be honest. The year before that, they got beat by the Rangers. And now this year, they kind of regressed a bit. And again, it just doesn't look like they're going to be able to get over the hump. However, they play the Devils right now, who I don't have much trust in. They got Hichter, Bratt. Hughes has been out with a shoulder injury since March 2nd. With the prayer emoji, I don't think he's coming back. Mayer, Nosian, Hamilton, Mercer, those players like that. The Devils, they can definitely win the series. I think it'll be a good one. However, I'm leaning Hurricanes. I think it goes to 6, and I think the Hurricanes move on. Now, with the real escapades done, let's get into round 2. We got the Blues and we got the Stars. Do the Blues go to the Cup? I'm just going to break it here. This isn't like the Pacers. I actually think that the Pacers can win the NBA Finals if you watch that video. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily think that the Blues can win the Cup. Now, we saw back in 2019, it's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, the Panthers that barely snuck into the playoffs, 2 years ago, made the Cup Finals. Of course, they would go on to rebound and win the Cup the next year. Will that happen with the Blues? I don't know. However, I don't think it's the Blues' year. The Stars, they're a really good team. They have pretty good players. Give me the Stars. It's going to be closer than many people think. I think it goes to 6. But I'm taking the Stars to move on. Next, we have the Golden Knights and we have the Oilers. Now, again, with that tandem of Draisaitl and McDavid, you can never really count them out for anything. Of course, the Golden Knights are still a really good team, though. They've got very good players. So, this will be a good series. I think it goes to 7. However, I have the team that just went to the Cup, the Oilers, moving on back to the conference finals. And that's if both McDavid and Draisaitl play together. Again, Draisaitl, he's been off and on for some reason. Someone might know. It's always said he was undisclosed, so I never really know. So, next we got the Maple Leafs and we got the Panthers. Back to real 1 second. Let me take you down memory lane. I remember this fondly. Where are they at? The Maple Leafs. It was 22-23. They had just came off of a series win against the Lightning. It was one of their proudest moments. They were chanting, "We want Florida. We want Florida." And then they lost 4-1. Yeah, that was very embarrassing for them. That was very embarrassing for them. We got a guy saying I hate this team. Yeah, that was a very embarrassing for the Leafs. It's always been embarrassing for the Leafs. It seems like every year is an embarrassment for the Leafs. They always lose to the Bruins. Game 7. Overtime. Of course. Mr. Pasta comes in. Mr. Pasta comes in and wins the series. Now, it's just funny how they always get owned. And then back in 2021, they got beat by the Lightning. Of course they did. It's just, the Leafs have not had a good streak in the playoffs for a while now. And let's be honest with y'all, I don't have that Canadian win. Give me the Panthers in 6. It's like history repeats itself. The Leafs can never do anything right. So I'm not taking the Leafs. I'm not trusting the Leafs to go to the conference finals. I can't trust the Leafs to go to the conference finals. And I think the Panthers are honestly the better team and fully healthy. However, will they be fully healthy? We don't know. And there's just a possibility that Reinhart is just injured for the rest of the season. I just don't know, because I don't know puck. But down to the Metropolitan, we've got the Caps and we got the Canes. Again, I'm mentioning how I don't think the Canes can make it over the hump. And again, I do not think the Carolina Hurricanes can make it over the hump this year. I don't know when they'll ever make it over the hump. I don't think it's their year, though. The Capitals, obviously, I don't feel like they can win the cup either. Well, they can win the cup. It's just not right to seem like they would this year. I think maybe next year, the Caps could win the cup. I'm just not too sure about this year. But again, anyone can win the cup. Anyone can make it to the cup. And that's all that matters. So, I'm taking, in a 7-game series, I'm taking the Caps to move on to the conference finals once again. Of course, this makes a very interesting conference finals. Obviously, the matchup we all want to avoid is the Oilers-Panthers, because we don't want to see, no one in the history of sports wants to see a repeat finals matchup. Unless you're a fan of the Oilers, or you're a fan of the Panthers, or you're a fan of whatever team that made it before. No one wants to see two teams in the same finals. One team making back to the finals, that can get boring after a long time, like with the Patriots. But once or twice, like the Panthers, that's not that bad. But like a repeat finals matchup, that's not interesting. That's not interesting. Argue with a wall. That's the matchup we're all trying to avoid. And will we avoid the Oilers making it? Well, let's be honest. A Canadian team has not won the Stanley Cup in about 30 years. I think it's over 30 years. I forgot what year. It's in the 90s, maybe 97, maybe 99, maybe 96. One of those years. You just have to fact check me on that. But the Canadians have not won a Stanley Cup in a very long time. I don't know why, per se, but they just haven't. And I don't think that they win a cup this year. And you know what that means? In a 6-game series, give me the Stars to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. Who will they face off? Now we got the Panthers and we got the Caps. Obviously, what I said, the Panthers are one of the best teams when fully healthy. But again, I don't necessarily know Reinhart's situation. Again, though, the Panthers are still a really good team. They have really good players. However, the Caps look like one of the best teams in the league. I'm not too certain if they can win the cup or not, but they can definitely make it. So, and a 7-game series, because I don't really like predicting blowouts in these finals. I am taking Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals to move on to the Stanley Cup Finals to face the Stars. And this series will be pretty interesting. Let's just look at their matchups now, since I've committed to the real bet. Let's see where at least one of them is that. Dallas Stars. Maybe I need to rethink. Maybe I need to rethink my whole bracket. They've lost. What is that? 7 in a row. And then we've got all right, so this, okay, so my prediction will either end up as the best prediction ever or the worst prediction ever. Because the Stars legitimately, 7 times 2, 4. The Stars legitimately could have won the President's Trophy if they won all those games. You know what? Let's just look past that. All right, where are the Caps at? We can spot out the Cap. Look, here's the Blues losing 3-6. Let's spot out the Cap. There's the Blues losing 2-0. Let's spot out the Caps. Okay. Back in December 16th, the Capitals lost 3-1 to the Stars. There's the Blues losing 2-1. Is that their only matchup? The series is 1-1 right now. So, the Caps, there's the Blues winning, let's go. Oh, there's the Blues losing. So, 1-1. This could be a very intriguing series. Hopefully Dallas does not embarrass me. Because, let's be honest, I feel like I always get embarrassed at least once in these predictions. But this could be either the best prediction ever or the worst prediction ever. However, in a 6-game series, I have the Dallas Stars winning the Stanley Cup Finals. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why. I just feel it in my gut. I think the Stars can do it. I think they go all the way to the finals after a miraculous run after losing 7 games in a row. And I think they win the cup. Nah, I'm just joking. Give me the Blues. Yep. Give me the Blues. Give me the Blues to win the Stanley Cup final. No, I'm joking. Let me go that bad. How many goals will be scored by the champions? All right, so for the whole playoffs, let's say they score 2 goals every game. And let's say this is a 7-game series. So if we do 2 times 7, that's 14, right? Then we do, how many series do they have? All right, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do 14 times 4. That's 75 goals. So they're going to score 63. No. I'm just saying it. Give me 45. They'll score 45 goals. Is that one down? No. Give me 55. I'm feeling 55. So that is my prediction. Sorry if it's a little chopped up. Just need to edit stuff out. But anyways, that will be all. Stuff coming soon. NFL's draft soon. Very exciting time. And I think I'll do something special this year that I haven't done before. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. And peace. Just make sure to submit the bracket, of course. But